The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the massive viewing screen displayed Earth's coordinates. Ambassador Krixtar of the Zolonian Empire adjusted his crystalline breathing apparatus, his 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession, a clear sign of nervousness among his species. "You cannot be serious," rumbled General Vorthak, his scaled hide shifting from deep purple to alarmed orange. "The humans have only been in space for what? 200 of their years? They barely understand quantum mechanics, let alone xenobiology." High Counselor Malithara raised one of her 6 arms, her gossamer wings catching the artificial starlight that illuminated the chamber. "The situation on Drakmor Prime has become desperate. 3 of our best xenobiological teams have failed. The Void Serpent grows more agitated each cycle. The hologram in the center of the chamber showed a planet wreathed in storms, its surface scarred by deep canyons and volcanic activity. But it wasn't the hostile environment that made seasoned space travelers shudder. It was what lived beneath the surface. "The Void Serpent has been dormant for over a millennium," continued Malithara. "Our archaeological teams awakened it while excavating the ancient precursor ruins. Now it threatens to break free from the planetary core. If it escapes into space..." She didn't need to finish. Every being in the chamber knew the legends. The Void Serpents were older than most civilizations, creatures of pure destructive force that could consume entire star systems. This one was smaller than the legendary beasts of old, but still capable of devastating multiple worlds. "The creature responds to psychic resonance," explained Dr. Yilthara, the Council's chief xenobiologist. Her tentacles writhed nervously as she spoke. "But every species we've sent has triggered its rage response. Telepaths, empaths, even the peaceful monks of serenity, all have failed." Ambassador Krixtar leaned forward in his hover chair. "And you believe these humans can succeed where we have failed? They lack any notable psychic abilities. Their minds are chaotic, unpredictable." "Perhaps that's exactly what we need," Malithara replied thoughtfully. "Their neural patterns are unlike anything in our database. They might be able to approach the creature without triggering its defensive mechanisms." General Vorthak's scales shifted to deep red, indicating strong disagreement. "This is madness. We should evacuate the system and contain it with quantum barriers. The energy output required would drain the resources of 12 star systems," Dr. Yilthara interjected. "And there's no guarantee it would hold indefinitely." The debate continued for several hours, but eventually, desperation won over pride. The message was sent to Earth through official diplomatic channels. Urgent assistance requested for xenobiological crisis, all expenses covered, significant compensation offered. 3 days later, the human response arrived. Where other species would have sent their finest scholars, their most experienced diplomats, or their bravest warriors, the humans sent something unexpected. The human vessel Aurora's Dream dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Drakmor system. It was a modest exploration ship, nothing like the massive dreadnoughts or sleek science vessels the Council was accustomed to. As the ship docked with the orbital station, Ambassador Krixtar prepared to meet humanity's greatest experts. The airlock hissed open, and out stepped 3 humans. Dr. Sarah Chen, a xenobiologist with graying hair and kind eyes; Captain James Rodriguez, a weathered space veteran with cybernetic implants along his left arm. And between them, "This is our consultant," Dr. Chen said with a gentle smile, placing her hand on the shoulder of a small human child who barely reached her waist. The child looked to be no more than 7 Earth years old, with bright green eyes and dark hair tied back in simple braids. She wore a plain jumpsuit and carried a small backpack decorated with colorful patches showing various Earth animals. Ambassador Krixtar's breathing apparatus made a rattling sound, the Zolonian equivalent of choking. "This is a juvenile, a larval human." "Her name is Maya," Dr. Chen continued calmly. "She has a very special gift." The child looked up at the towering alien ambassador and waved. "Hi! Are you the one with the sick dragon?" Crixtar stared in disbelief. Around the docking bay, other aliens had gathered to witness the human arrival. Whispers and clicks and harmonic tones filled the air as the news spread. The humans had brought a child to face the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Before you object, let me explain. Maya isn't just any child. She has a condition that your medical scanners won't detect. She's what we call a dragon whisperer." "A what?" Dr. Yilthara's tentacles coiled tightly around herself. Maya giggled. "I talk to animals, big ones, small ones, scary ones. They all like me because I'm not afraid of them." Dr. Chen nodded. "Maya has an extremely rare neurological configuration. She processes fear differently than other humans. Where most beings experience terror when confronting large predators, Maya experiences curiosity and empathy. She spent her life working with Earth's most dangerous animals." "But the Void Serpent isn't just dangerous," protested General Vorthak. "It's a force of cosmic destruction." Maya looked up at the general with those impossibly bright eyes. "My grandpa used to say that every mean animal is just scared or hurt. Maybe the dragon is scared too." The silence that followed was profound. Here was a child, barely out of infancy by galactic standards, suggesting that a creature older than some stars might simply be frightened. High Counselor Malithara was the first to speak. "Even if we were to consider this proposal, the journey to Drakmoor's surface is perilous. The atmospheric disturbances alone—" "We've prepared for that," Captain Rodriguez interrupted. "Our ship is equipped with the latest atmospheric processors. We can create a safe environment for Maya to work." Dr. Yilthara's scanners hummed as she examined the child from a respectful distance. "Her neural patterns are unusual. Very low stress indicators, elevated empathy centers, and something else I can't identify." Maya had wandered over to a viewing port and was staring down at the storm-racked planet below. "It's so sad," she whispered. "The whole planet feels sad." Dr. Chen knelt beside her young charge. "Can you sense the creature, Maya?" The child nodded slowly. "It's deep down, and it's really, really scared. It wants to go home, but it doesn't remember where home is." The assembled aliens exchanged glances. If the child could sense the creature from orbit, perhaps there was something to this impossible plan after all. Ambassador Crixtar made a decision that would either be remembered as the greatest diplomatic breakthrough of his career or the moment he allowed a child to walk into certain death. "Very well. We will provide full support for your mission. But I must officially protest this course of action." Maya turned from the viewing port and smiled at him. "Don't worry, Mr. Crixtar. I've dealt with scared animals before. Remember, they're more afraid of us than we are of them." As the human team prepared for descent to the planet's surface, word spread throughout the galactic network. On 1,000 worlds, beings gathered around communication devices to follow the unprecedented mission. Betting pools opened on civilized planets, with odds heavily favoring disaster. Military fleets prepared for the worst-case scenario. But in the depths of Drakmoor Prime, something stirred. For the first time in weeks, the seismic activity decreased slightly. The Void Serpent, ancient and confused, had sensed something new approaching. Something small and unafraid and somehow familiar. The descent to Drakmoor began at dawn, ship time. Maya pressed her face against the window as they dropped through the turbulent atmosphere, watching lightning dance between the clouds. While seasoned space veterans checked and rechecked their equipment, she hummed a simple Earth lullaby that her grandmother had taught her. Below them, the planet waited. And in its depths, so did the most dangerous creature the galaxy had seen in 1,000 years. The Aurora's dream shuddered as it broke through Drakmoor's atmosphere, buffeted by winds that could tear apart most civilian spacecraft. Captain Rodriguez's hands moved steadily over the controls, his cybernetic arm interfacing directly with the ship's navigation system to compensate for the chaotic weather patterns. "Atmospheric composition is stable within the safe zone," reported Dr. Chen, monitoring the environmental readings. "Gravity is 1.2 Earth standard. Oxygen levels adequate with filtration." Maya sat strapped into her seat, swinging her legs and watching the alien landscape unfold below them. Where others saw a hellscape of twisted metal spires and bubbling magma flows, she saw something else entirely. "The ground is singing," she announced suddenly. Dr. Chen looked up from her instruments. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "There's music coming from deep down, sad music, like when our neighbor's dog got lost and kept howling for his family." Above them, the orbital station buzzed with activity. Ambassador Krixtar paced the command center, while dozens of species monitored the descent. The viewing screens showed not only the human ship, but also the massive energy readings emanating from the planet's core. "Seismic activity is down 12% since the humans entered the atmosphere," reported a crystalline technician, her faceted body chiming softly as she worked. "The creature appears to be listening." High Counselor Malithara leaned over the sensor displays, her gossamer wings twitching with nervous energy. "Impossible! No species has ever been able to communicate with a void serpent during an active phase." The Aurora's Dream touched down on the designated landing platform, a precursor structure that had somehow survived 10,000 years of planetary upheaval. The ancient metal was covered in flowing patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly, technology so advanced that even the most sophisticated galactic civilizations could barely understand its principles. Maya was the first to notice the patterns responding to their presence. "Dr. Sarah, look, the ground is drawing pictures." Dr. Chen activated her recording equipment as the precursor symbols began to glow with soft blue light. "Remarkable. The structure is responding to our bioelectric fields." Captain Rodriguez ran a full sensor sweep of the area. "No immediate threats detected, but I'm reading massive energy fluctuations from the excavation site. Whatever's down there is definitely aware of us." The excavation itself was an impressive feat of galactic engineering. Multiple species had worked together to create a spiral pathway leading deep into the planet's crust, following the natural cave systems that honeycombed Drakmore's interior. Force field generators lined the route, providing protection from cave-ins and toxic gases. Maya walked to the edge of the excavation and peered down into the darkness. The pathway spiraled down so far that it disappeared into shadows, lit only by the soft glow of emergency lighting. "I can hear it better now," she said quietly. "It's not angry anymore, just lonely." Dr. Chen checked her equipment one final time. Maya wore a special environmental suit designed for her small frame, but unlike the bulky protective gear worn by adult explorers, hers was lightweight and flexible. More importantly, it was equipped with emergency teleportation beacons that could extract her instantly if needed. The descent began slowly. Maya walked between Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez, her small hand occasionally reaching out to touch the ancient cave walls. The precursor passages were carved with impossible precision, their surfaces smooth as glass despite their age. "The walls are warm," Maya observed, pressing her palm against the stone. "Like when our cat purrs." Above them, the orbital command center tracked their progress with growing amazement. The seismic readings continued to stabilize as the human team descended. Energy spikes that had been occurring every few minutes for weeks had completely stopped. "The child appears to be having a calming effect on the creature," Dr. Yilthara reported, her tentacles writhing with excitement. "The resonance patterns are unlike anything in our database." Ambassador Krixtar watched the readings with growing concern. "What if we're misreading the situation? What if the creature is simply preparing?" 3 kilometers down, The team encountered their first major challenge. The pathway opened into a vast cavern filled with floating crystal formations that hummed with harmonic frequencies. The crystals were beautiful but dangerous. Their resonance could shatter unprotected minds. Maya stopped at the entrance to the cavern and tilted her head, listening to something the adults couldn't hear. "They're trying to talk," she said, "but they don't know how to use words." Dr. Chen's instruments showed dangerous psychic radiation levels throughout the cavern. "Maya, we need to put up the mental barriers." "No," Maya interrupted gently. "They're not trying to hurt anyone. They're just really excited that someone can finally hear them." She walked into the cavern before anyone could stop her. The floating crystals immediately began to pulse in rhythm, their harmonic frequencies shifting to match something in Maya's neural patterns. Instead of the chaotic noise that had driven away previous expeditions, the cavern filled with something resembling music. Captain Rodriguez and Dr. Chen followed cautiously, their protective equipment fully activated. But the crystals seemed to recognize Maya's companions and adjusted their frequencies accordingly, creating a safe passage through the chamber. "How is this possible?" Dr. Chen whispered, recording everything. Maya was speaking to the crystals now, not with words but with soft humming sounds that seemed to resonate with their harmonic frequencies. The crystals responded by creating complex light patterns, painting the cavern walls with shifting colors. "They're telling me about the dragon," Maya explained as they walked. "They say it's been sleeping for a really long time and it woke up confused. It doesn't understand where it is or why everything is so different." The team emerged from the crystal cavern and continued their descent. The pathway here was newer, carved by the archaeological teams that had first awakened the Void Serpent. The walls showed recent tool marks, and scattered equipment indicated hasty evacuations. 5 kilometers down, they encountered evidence of the creature's power. The tunnel walls were scored with massive claw marks that glowed with residual energy. Each mark was as tall as Captain Rodriguez and deep enough to fit his entire body. Maya ran her fingers along one of the glowing scratches. "It was trying to dig its way home," she said sadly. "It doesn't understand that home isn't up there anymore." Dr. Chen's readings spiked. "Maya, we're entering the active zone. The creature's psychic field is incredibly strong here. Most beings would have been overwhelmed by the raw mental pressure radiating from below. The Void Serpent's mind was ancient and alien, filled with memories of star systems that no longer existed and purposes forgotten by time." But Maya simply nodded and continued walking. "I can feel it now," she said. "It's really big and really sad and really, really old. But it's not mean. It just wants someone to understand." 7 kilometers down, the artificial pathway ended at a massive natural cavern. This was where the archaeological team had broken through into the Void Serpent's resting place. Emergency lighting illuminated the edges of a space so vast that the far walls disappeared into darkness, and coiled in the center of that darkness was the creature itself. The Void Serpent was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Its scales shimmered with colors that had no names in any galactic language, and its form seemed to exist partially outside normal space-time. It was smaller than the legendary Void Serpents of old, but still massive enough to wrap around a small moon. Currently, it was curled into a defensive position, its great head tucked under its coils. Periodically, waves of psychic energy pulsed from its form, strong enough to interfere with electronic equipment from kilometers away. Maya stood at the edge of the cavern and looked up at the creature with wonder rather than fear. "Hello," she called out in her clear, childish voice. "My name is Maya. I came to see if you're okay." The psychic pulses stopped immediately. Slowly, incredibly, the great head emerged from the protective coils. Eyes like miniature galaxies focused on the small human child standing at the cavern's edge. For the first time in weeks, the Void Serpent was completely still. Above them, every sensor array in the orbital command center registered the same impossible reading. The creature's aggression levels had dropped to 0. The most dangerous being in the galaxy was calm, focused entirely on one small human child. Maya took a step forward into the cavern. "Wait!" Dr. Chen called out, but Maya was already walking toward the creature. The void serpent watched her approach, its massive form remaining perfectly motionless. As Maya drew closer, the creature lowered its head until it was nearly touching the cavern floor. Maya stopped just out of reach and looked up at the being that had terrorized the galaxy's greatest minds. "You're scared," she said simply. "You woke up and everything was different, and now you don't know what to do." The creature's response was a sound like distant thunder mixed with the singing of whales. Maya giggled. "I know it's confusing," she continued, settling cross-legged on the cavern floor as if she were talking to a neighborhood dog. "But the people who woke you up, they didn't mean to scare you. They just wanted to learn about the old times." The void serpent lowered its head further, bringing one massive eye level with the child. The eye was larger than Maya's entire body, filled with swirling galaxies and the wisdom of eons. Maya reached out slowly and placed her small hand on the creature's snout. The moment Maya's small hand touched the void serpent's snout, everything changed. Throughout the galaxy, sensitive beings felt the shift. Telepaths on distant worlds looked up from their meditations with wonder. Empathic species stopped their daily activities as an unprecedented wave of peace washed over the galactic psychic field. Even artificial intelligences registered fluctuations in their quantum matrices. In the cavern on Drakmor Prime, Maya felt the creature's mind open to hers. It was like standing at the edge of an ocean of memories. The void serpent's consciousness was vast and ancient, filled with images of civilizations that had risen and fallen before the current galactic powers had even evolved. Maya saw star systems being born, watched worlds grow green with life, witnessed the great migrations of the precursors as they seeded the galaxy with their technology. But beneath all those memories was something Maya recognized immediately: homesickness. The creature had been created by the precursors as a guardian, designed to protect their most sacred sites during their long journey to transcendence. When they finally departed this dimension, they had left their guardians in stasis, expecting to return someday. The void serpent had slept for millennia, dreaming of the day its creators would wake it with purpose once again. Instead, it had awakened to find strangers poking through the ruins of its master's greatest achievements. "Oh," Maya whispered, tears streaming down her face inside her environmental helmet. "You've been waiting for them to come back." The creature's response rumbled through both the cavern and the psychic realm. It was a sound of such profound sadness that even Captain Rodriguez, standing 30 meters away, felt his eyes water. Dr. Chen watched in amazement as her instruments registered impossible readings. The child's neural activity had somehow synchronized with the void serpent's brainwaves. Two completely different forms of consciousness were communicating directly, mind to mind. Maya closed her eyes and let the creature's memories flow through her. She saw the precursors as they truly were, beings of pure energy who had chosen to take physical form in order to experience the joy of creation. They had loved their guardian creatures like children, and the separation had been painful for everyone involved. "They had to go," Maya said softly, her hand still resting on the creature's snout. "But they didn't abandon you, they just graduated. Like when kids grow up and leave home, but they still love their parents." The void serpent's great eye blinked slowly, processing this concept. In all its eons of existence, it had never considered that the precursor's departure might have been a natural progression rather than abandonment. Maya opened her eyes and looked directly into that swirling galactic gaze. You're not supposed to protect the ruins anymore. You're supposed to live your own life now. The precursors would want you to be happy." In the orbital command center, Ambassador Krickstar watched the readings with disbelief. "The creature's aggression levels aren't just decreasing," he reported. "They're being replaced by something else entirely." Dr. Yilthara's tentacles waved excitedly as she analyzed the data. "It's experiencing what humans call catharsis, an emotional release and purification. But how is this possible? The child has no advanced training, no psychic amplifiers, no technological enhancement." High Counselor Malathara spoke quietly. "Perhaps that's exactly why it works. She approaches the creature without preconceptions, without fear, without the barriers that more sophisticated minds erect." In the cavern, Maya was having a conversation that spanned the history of the galaxy. The Void Serpent shared more memories, the loneliness of its long vigil, the confusion of awakening to a changed universe, the anger born from feeling forgotten and displaced. Maya listened to it all with the patience that only children seem to possess. She told the creature about Earth, about her life with animals who had also been displaced from their natural environments. She explained how she helped scared creatures find new purposes, new homes, new reasons to be happy. "The archaeologists who woke you up. They weren't trying to steal anything," Maya explained. "They were trying to learn about the precursors because they think they were amazing. Kinda like how I think you're amazing." The creature's massive form shifted slightly, coils rearranging as it processed this new perspective. For the first time in weeks, it began to withdraw its psychic field, pulling the chaotic energy back into itself. Across the planet, the storms began to calm. "You know what I think?" Maya continued, settling more comfortably against the creature's snout. "I think the precursors left you here because they knew someday you'd meet new friends. Like me, and Dr. Sarah and Captain James and all the nice aliens upstairs who were worried about you." The Void Serpent made a sound that might have been laughter, a harmonic rumble that made the cavern crystals sing in harmony. Maya giggled in response. "Would you like to meet them?" she asked. "I know they'd love to hear your stories about the old times, and maybe you could help them understand the precursor technology better, not as a guardian protecting it, but as a friend sharing memories." The creature considered this. Through their mental link, Maya felt its surprise at the concept of friendship with these younger species. It had been alone for so long that it had forgotten such connections were possible. Slowly, carefully, the Void Serpent began to uncurl its massive form. As it moved, reality seemed to bend around it, space-time flexing to accommodate its presence. But there was no threat in the movement now. It was the careful motion of a being trying not to frighten its new friend. "That's it," Maya encouraged, standing up and stepping back to give the creature room. "Come on up and say hello to everyone." Dr. Chen watched in wonder as the most dangerous creature in the galaxy followed Maya's suggestion like an enormous, reality-bending puppy. The creature's head rose toward the cavern ceiling, then began moving toward the spiral pathway that led to the surface. "Maya," Captain Rodriguez called out, "we need to let the station know what's happening. They might panic when they see the creature emerging." Maya nodded and activated her communication device. Her young voice was transmitted instantly to the command center far above. "Hi, everyone. This is Maya. I wanted to let you know that Void Serpent is coming up to meet you, but don't be scared. His name is—" She paused and looked at the creature. "What would you like them to call you?" The creature's response was a complex harmonic pattern that conveyed concepts of starlight, patience, and watchful care. Maya translated. "He says you can call him Stellar. He's been alone for a really long time, and he'd like to make friends with all of you." The ascent took several hours. The Void Serpent, Stellar, moved slowly and carefully, its reality-bending abilities allowing it to navigate the narrow passages, despite its enormous size. Maya walked beside its head, chattering cheerfully about everything she could see. "Oh, look at those crystals lighting up. They're so happy to see you again, and see how the walls are getting shinier. I think the whole mountain is excited." Behind them, Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez followed in a state of constant amazement. Dr. Chen's instruments recorded everything, documenting the first peaceful contact with a void serpent in galactic history. As they approached the surface, Maya's communication device crackled with transmissions from the orbital station. "Maya, dear," came High Counselor Malathara's voice, "we're reading massive energy fluctuations from your position. Are you certain the creature is friendly?" "Oh, yes," Maya replied happily. "Stellar just wants to see the sky again. He's been underground for so long, and he misses the stars." When they finally emerged onto the landing platform, the sight took everyone's breath away. Stellar's full form was revealed for the first time. A creature of impossible beauty, whose scales reflected the light of distant galaxies. He was enormous, but his movements were gentle as he carefully coiled around the precursor platform without damaging any of the human equipment. Above them, the orbital station's sensors detected something unprecedented. The chaotic energy readings that had threatened the entire system were transforming into something else, organized patterns that resembled complex mathematical equations. "Remarkable," breathed Dr. Yilthera. "The creature is attempting to communicate with our technology. It's teaching our computers how to interface with precursor systems." Maya looked up at Stellar's massive head as it swayed gently in Drakmore's alien breeze. "He wants to share what he knows," she explained. "All those thousands of years of watching and learning. He wants to help everyone understand the things the precursors built." Ambassador Krixtar's voice came through the communication system, filled with wonder. "Maya, what you've accomplished today, it will change the entire galaxy. First contact protocols, xenobiological understanding, archaeological methods, everything will need to be reconsidered." Maya shrugged, a gesture that made several watching aliens emit sounds of amusement. "I just listened to him. Sometimes that's all anyone really needs." As night fell on Drakmore Prime, something magical happened. Stellar raised his great head toward the stars and began to sing, a harmonious sound that resonated across multiple dimensions. The planet's storms calmed completely, and for the first time in weeks, the aurora dancing in Drakmore's atmosphere showed patterns of peace rather than chaos. Maya sat cross-legged on the platform, leaning against Stellar's side like he was a warm hill. Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez set up their equipment nearby, preparing to establish the first diplomatic protocols between galactic civilization and one of the universe's oldest inhabitants. "You know what the best part is?" Maya said to her adult companions as she watched the stars appear in the clearing sky. "What's that, sweetheart?" Dr. Chen asked. Maya smiled her bright, innocent smile. "Stellar isn't the only one. He says there are others sleeping in different places, waiting for someone to help them not be scared anymore. We're going to have lots of new friends." Above them, on the orbital station, the implications of Maya's words sent ripples of excitement and concern through the assembled representatives. More void serpents meant more potential crises, or more opportunities for unprecedented cooperation. But that was a challenge for tomorrow. Tonight, under the peaceful stars of Drakmore Prime, a small human child and an ancient cosmic guardian were becoming friends, proving once again that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is simply the courage to be kind. As Maya drifted off to sleep against Stellar's warm side, her last conscious thought was a happy one. She couldn't wait to tell her classmates back on Earth about her new dragon friend. They were never going to believe this adventure.